Okay, so welcome again. We are going to now look at how we input data into or record our data into the Google form using the Google form that we just created here for Joe. I am going to I click the Google form, and you see there are three symbols up here. You have the paintbrush, which customizes the theme. It just changes the color of the theme. You can choose whichever you want. I'm just going to leave it as purple because purple is my favorite color. Then we have setting over here, and then this one, the I here, is called preview. So when you, if you want to share this document with other teachers that might work with Joe, or your teacher assistants, or anyone who you think can be responsible for taking data on, you can send it to them, you can share it with them, and then they're going to be invited to fill out the form. If it's you or you're filling it out, you can simply just go into the document as we did earlier, click this preview button over here, and here you are in the form as you would see it, as anyone who is recording or is going to take data on Joe's IEP goal for reading, they would see this. This is how it looks like. So it's pretty neat because it says here goal number 1, reading. Here's his IEP goal, and then you have the short-term objective. So say we have been working with Joe and he was reading us, and I noticed that okay, here he did summarize the story today that he read. He was able to name the key details and included the main events. Great job for Joe. He was also able to determine the mood of the text. So I'm going to click here. Okay, he was able to determine the mood of the text. So here's the difference that you're going to see whether you're using the checkboxes just like I used here in top for objective 1. I was able to check all 3. I didn't necessarily have to. Maybe you didn't work on main events, but we're just going to say for a case of this that we worked on all of those 3 items, and that determined the able to determine mood of the text. We only need one. It's either or. So I just kept that as multiple choice. But with multiple choice, you're only able to pick one. And same as with objective 3, was he able to make inferences? Yeah, he was able to make inferences, cite textual evidence, with details and examples. Really good job today, Joe. So, and then we just click submit. That's it. Let's say we're going to collect some more data on Joe. So I'm going to submit another response. So what I like to do with all the data sheets that I have, this is not my work computer, so this is just my personal computer, which is why I don't have any work-related things on here. I save this form as it is right now in the preview, because that's how you have to have it in preview to be able to collect the data. I always save everything. I have a folder. So you have, when I have kids school, this is for my own kids. I would have a folder here that says IEP data, and it would have all my students' forms in there. So that's just something to think about. But let's say, okay, here we're going to go. So he was able to, this is day 2, and Joe was able to summarize the story and poem. I'm going to click yes. He did not name any key details, and he did not include any main events. He was just able to summarize it, basically just tell us, and that's yeah. And was he able to determine the mood of the text? Yeah, he was able to do that. He did make some inferences, but he did not cite any textual details or examples. We're just going to go with this. And then I say, no, we are on day number 3. We're going to submit another. He had a really good day. He was able to do everything that he was supposed to do. He was able to determine the mood of the text. He was able to make inferences and cite textual details and examples. Okay, press submit. So now we have 3 data sets. I'm going to go up to 10. And I'm just going to go. Maybe Joe had a really bad day and he just was not feeling it. And we're going to say he just did not meet any of his goals this day on the 3rd day. Next day, well, he had a good day, but, maybe, let's see. The only thing we worked on was summarizing story or poem, okay? Maybe he wasn't able to do anything else. Able to determine the mood of the text, and he cited textual evidence, but he did not make any inferences. Let's just say. This is for a case of showing you different how the data works when we analyze it. So next one, he had a really good day. He was able to do he met all his goals. Really nice job. And then let's say we just had another bad day, not so good day. He did not summarize. He was not able to summarize it. He just did not want to work this day. Sometimes we have days like that when they don't want to work. Okay. So let's see. Do a few more. And let's see. He did. Let's see. Okay. So I'm gonna go up here again to where it says, let's see, yep, it says Joe's data. Okay, now I can see here, look at where it says response, right over here, it says 8 data points. Okay, so I have 8 data points. I'm going to do 2 more, just so I have that 10. Okay, and he's able to, he has a good day. He does not include any main events, so let's just say that. He wasn't able to understand what the mood of the mood of the text was. He made inferences and he cited textual evidence and examples. Okay, so 1 more. And let's just say he had a really good day, because Joe is awesome. He most of the time has good days. Okay, so let's see. Now we have, if I go back to my original one, this is the one where you can make all the changes. And here you go to analyze. So we have the responses here. So you see where it says questions. This is where we I could write and I could change anything that I want in here. And here responses. And now I'm going to click responses. This is the beauty of online data collecting, is that you don't have to do any of the work. The only thing you have to do is click. Here you see. So here we have reading goal. His first objective. Joe will be able to summarize a story, poem, or drama, including the main events and key details, with 80% accuracy by September 2019. This is his quarterly. Okay, so you see here, it's going to tell you, summarize a story or poem. Yep, 80%, so he met his goal. Naming key details, not so much. He did 60%. He's with 60% accuracy and 50% accuracy including main events. So when I would look at this data, I would look at okay, we might need to work more on finding key details and what the main events are. So he seems to be able to summarize the story, but naming those key details and including main events, we need to work on more. And this is where I show I like to do does not name key details, is that it because this should be that he, how can I explain this, is that this shows me what he can and cannot do. Okay, so here we have, so these are the check boxes. This is going to be as a bar graph. And then we have multiple choice. And now this is one thing that I do love, because it gives you a pie chart, you see. His goal is with 70% accuracy, and lo and behold, he's at 70%. He's able to determine the mood of the text 70% of the time, which is beautiful. And then we go back to the other one, his third objective, make inferences and cite textual evidence. He's supposed to be at 80% accuracy by September. We are in March, so he's at 70%, which is pretty good. So we just keep on working on those. Okay, so now we know how to input data into the Google Forms and how to analyze the data. Have the computer, have Google Forms analyze it for you. Less work for you to do. And as I say, one thing that I do absolutely love about Google Forms and using it is that it does not just save me time, but it's also saving our Earth. Thank you.